for Alex Bowman, a 50-race dry spell ends under very wet conditions as he captures the second annual street course race in Chicago. Greetings, everyone. I'm Doug Rice, joined by PRN's very own Alexis Erickson and Brad Gilley. And Alex Bowman was able to survive the weather, the carnage, and the competition to scoot away at the end of the Chicago street race and win by a fairly comfortable margin. Talks about how good that felt.
Yeah, there's a lot of different emotions, right? I mean, this team has gone through so much has happened in my life in the last 2 years. It just so thankful for everybody sticking behind me, and we had a great race car, and I tried my best to throw it all away on that restart and ruin the 23s day for no reason other than I just messed up and missed the corner and had to compartmentalize that and try to go win the race. So yeah, just super thankful for the opportunity.
Well, Alex Bowman, had to be a huge day, Alexis. You come back off the precipice. You're the only Hendrick driver that hasn't won this year, and now you secured a spot in the playoffs to boot.
And one of the biggest races of the season. I mean, you think about just the way that the whole race and everything unfolded yesterday. I don't think I was, or many people were thinking about Alex Bowman as being the driver in victory lane when it was all said and done, but he outlasted the rain delay, the carnage, the chaos. I mean, had a brilliant decision there from Blake Harris at the end, and television showed the conversation between them when it came to the strategy on whether or not they wanted to go to the slick tires from the wet tires. And they basically said, well, we could go to the slick tires, but if we want to win, we've got to stick with the wet tires. And that's what they did, and boy, did it pay off.
And Brad, this was not a backed into, everybody crashed out victory. To Alexis's point there, this was well planned. It was a calculated gamble, but at the end, it was worth drawing to.
Yeah, it was. And again, NASCAR racing is not a fastest car contest. This is a race. And Martin Truex Jr. said it best many years ago when he described it as the fastest way to the checkered flag. They found the fastest way to the checkered flag, and they won a big race. And this was a total team effort, which was awesome. One of the things I really like, Chase Elliott had already won. He got the Texas win. We've seen William Byron in victory lane 3 times, Kyle Larson in victory lane multiple times this year. And when you start to hear from Hendrick Motorsports and they say, hey, we have to get Alex into victory lane, and you realize that strategy call that Alexis was talking about was not only a conversation between Blake Harris and Alex Bowman, but Chad Knaus involved in that, and the people at Hendrick Motorsports looking at the whole saying, hey, what can we do to surround the 48? And they did, and they won, and that was a pretty cool thing to see.
And for Alex Bowman, there was a lot of emotion in that W.
We should be in the playoffs, right? Like last year was unacceptable, and I know I broke my back, but we came back and I was still to the good side in points, and I didn't do a good job at some places, and we struggled with our race cars at other places and had things happen. So to be back locked in where we're supposed to be is really good, and now we can focus on just going and consistently performing. Like, we need to use these next couple weeks to get back to where we were, a month ago. We were running pretty good. The last month has been tough on us, but we need to go execute now.
Of course, Bowman won on the wet weather tires that were wearing out. His lap times at the end of the race were very slow. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick is out on the racetrack in his Air Jordan brand car, making gains very, very quickly over the last 2 laps. Looks like he might have had a shot to run him down.
It's great to have the opportunity to run him down. Just obviously couldn't get the job done. Clean lap is all I needed to do, and I couldn't even do that.
Brad, Alexis couldn't come up with that clean lap. It looked like we were headed toward a photo finish if he doesn't shove it into the wall.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy watching on television how quickly he was catching Alex because of the differential between what Alex was able to run on the wet tires and what Tyler was able to put down lap time wise on the slick tires. But yeah, I mean, there just shows you there's no margin for error here. He just looked like he just barely tapped the wall and lost all of his momentum. And then from there on, it was just up to Alex, to keep it on course, and he was able to do that.
Yeah, and he did shove it into the wall. There's a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda, but the fact of the matter is he did shove it into the wall while Alex Bowman was making perfect laps, and that was his opportunity at victory lane. Hey, a learning moment for sure. And by the way, Tyler Reddick's not the first guy to do that. If you remember last year, Chase Elliott was kind of a victim of the same scenario in the first street race we had at Chicago.
So we heard from Tyler Reddick. He finished second. Ty Gibbs, nice run for Ty Gibbs. He was talked about and whispered about as a possible winner, was third. Before we get into the guys that were the favorites that didn't get to the end, I want to give Joey Hand a loud hand here. Okay, so way to go. Joey Hand is an IMSA driver, has run a handful of NASCAR Cup Series races, was leading late in the race and came home fourth.
Well, I love street racing. I've said it all week. I mean, I'm a big fan of street racing. I'm so excited that NASCAR brought it to Chicago especially. This is one street race I've never been involved in with all this city lights and all that, but I've raced, all the street courses in this country. So, yeah, I'm hoping a lot of people go out to watch and got to cheer for their sports car guy running in NASCAR.
So for RFK Racing, they come home with a fourth-place finish in the person of Joey Hand. Way to go, Joey. Looked like he might sneak out a win. Brad, I want to start with you. We went into this. There was so much hype around Shane Van Gisbergen. Well-deserved. He won the race last year. He's won all 3 Xfinity road course races, or 3 in a row this year on the Xfinity road courses. He qualified well. He won stage 1, and then poof, it was gone.
Yeah, poof, it was gone. Chase Briscoe, who ran into a lot of things, also ran into Shane Van Gisbergen and ruined his day. But here's the deal. You went from first to last, literally, after winning on Saturday for Van Gisbergen. He finished 40th on Sunday. But the crazy thing is probably the top 4 drivers that you looked at and thought, hey, these are going to be the true contenders on this road course, all ended up finishing in the bottom 4 with Van Gisbergen 40th, Kyle Larson, AJ Allmendinger, Christopher Bell, 37th through 40th was literally the 4 favorites to win this race, but you got to get to the checkered flag if you want to win this deal.
I think it illustrates how much that the biggest factor for these drivers and the biggest competition that they had to overcome was the racetrack itself. I mean, obviously you have your other competitors on the course, but between the conditions that were out there, the differing strategies, like you had to be able to tackle and survive the racetrack before anything else. And some drivers just did that better than others.
Yep. As Brad pointed out, C. Bell, who looked like, okay, Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen are out. And the next thing I know, the nose of his car is sticking in the wall. So he is done. He finishes 37th. AJ Allmendinger, can we talk about this? Can we talk?
Oh.
Brad, what's going on there? He used to be the guy that we always circled in Sharpie at every road course, and he paid off. I mean, he won the Roval, I think, 3 times in a row in the Xfinity Series. Has his mojo left town?
I don't think his mojo's left town. I think his luck's left town. And again, he won the Roval in the Cup Series last year. But both days, Saturday and Sunday, AJ Allmendinger coming to this Chicago street course thinking to myself, I've got something going on here. I'm going to have a good weekend, and had about the worst possible weekend. It was just, Saturday it fell out for him. Sunday it fell out for him, and everything just kind of went up in the air, unfortunately. And we don't have a lot more opportunities at road races this year. We've got a couple with Watkins Glen and the Roval, and maybe he can shine in some other places in his Xfinity Series car. But gosh, when you've got an opportunity like this and the talent that he has, and to see it go away 2 days in a row, that's rough.
I mean, Alexis, you and I have been in this very studio and interviewed him after a win on the Roval in the Cup Series. The guy has talent, but this year, I guess maybe to Brad's point, 0 luck.
Yeah, I mean, he's got boatloads of talent, especially when it comes to road course situations. And Colleague is bringing good cars because look at what, Shane Van Gisbergen was able to do on Saturday and what he potentially could have done on Sunday had it not been for that incident with Chase Briscoe. So, when you look at all of the variables that can affect someone's performance, at this point, it kind of does just look like bad luck. But, that's a tough pill to swallow.
I don't want to give up. You know me, man. I'll turn on somebody in a heartbeat.
Oh, we know.
I will.
You'll back over there great.
I will eat my young really quick, but I don't want to do that with AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah,
I just think
I agree.
if he can have a clean race, this guy can win.